Hey everybody, Animal Man here. Today we're going to do a pretty cool project. We're making a backyard blacksmithing forge. This is going to be a pretty neat project you can do on a budget or maybe even for free if you're good at salvaging materials. So, here we go. It's going to be cool. Alright, so here's how we begin. We need some cinder blocks or bricks or stones if you have them, whatever you have, something like that that's non-flammable, nice and sturdy and tough. And you can get these cinder blocks at a hardware store for like $1 each, I think. And if you use these square blocks, you're going to need 12 of them. And that's just to make it the right height, so I'm not bending over the forge. You don't need to have it this high. You can even make it higher or lower if you want to. So you just need something very, very strong to hold the weight of this and sturdy. You don't want this thing falling over when you're in the middle of forging with it when it's 2,000 degrees. That's bad news. So that's our base. And I've got them set up in this square pattern with gaps in the middle because we need to have our inlet hose go in there later on. And this is a brake drum from a truck that I salvaged. There's a customer of mine that I visit twice a year every summer. It's in Rhode Island, and on the property there's all these rusted vehicles and farm machinery in the woods. And it's been there, it looks like it's been there, some of this stuff, 50 or 60 years. And it's all just getting rusted and destroyed. There's trees growing through it. So I went on a salvage mission, and this is a brake drum from a truck. I don't know how the heck I managed to get this thing out of there to my car, but I did. It's super heavy. This is an awesome forge. You can get these probably a junkyard, or if you know a place where there's stuff like this, ask the property owner. Maybe you can take some stuff out of there yourself. And that's what we're going to use for our base. But look at all these holes. We have to plug the holes. We need an air inlet to be in the center down here. We're going to push air up through here to heat up this forge. So what I've got, I found something else there in the woods. I don't even know what this thing used to be, but it's perfect to fit inside here. And this is the size hole that I need. I didn't even have to grind it down or anything. And there were little holes in there from where nuts and bolts used to be. I plugged them up with other salvaged materials just to plug those holes. And that sits right there in the center. So that's where we're going to attach our air inlet hose to. But before we set that in there, we need to get rid of these other holes around the outside. So here's what I've concocted for that. The way I have this sitting on the blocks, some of the holes are being blocked by the cinder blocks, but there are 6 holes that need something in them. So I've got old rusty washers and bolts that just sit in there. You don't have to actually bolt them on or any stuff like that. Just sit them right in the holes. And I got 2 more. Here they are. Just sit them all in there. So now all those holes around the outside edge are blocked. We only want air coming in where we want it to come in, make this thing as hot as we can get it. So I'm going to put this one in now. Hopefully. I think if we wiggle it just right, it'll sit down in there nice and flush. Don't even need to hammer it or anything. So now that's all plugged up. So now we're going to get our inlet hose. Alright everyone, so here's what I've gathered together. This is 2-inch galvanized steel pipe, and there's 4 parts here. Got this long part, I believe is 6 inches, and then an elbow, 2-inch pipe elbow, and then I've got another small piece of pipe. Let me just put this back on there and I'll show you that. Okay, it's another little piece. This one, got this tightened on already. I can't even get it off right now. It's about 2.5 inches. It's just got threads on either end. Goes to that elbow. And then we've got this is going to be our cap. So how it's going to work is I'm going to put this whole thing underneath here. It's going to come up through that hole, and then I'm going to screw this down onto it, clamp it into place. It's going to be our air inlet. So here it goes. I'm going to hold this thing still. There it is. And again, doesn't have to be tight, just sitting in there is fine. Cover up all those holes. Alright, so now it wants to wobble because we haven't tightened it down. So what I'm going to do for this, I'm going to put a piece of wood underneath the pipe on the side. So to keep this pipe from wobbling so much, I'm going to put this block of wood under it, just for now. And that'll keep it a little bit more still, so we can work on the rest of our forge. Here's some more parts that I've salvaged. This is a wire rack from an old charcoal grill. And we're going to put it right in here. Just push these right in. And it fits right in there very, very well. That's going to keep things from getting too close to that air vent. We want the air to have room to get out until it hits the charcoal or firewood that's going to be up on top here. And now we don't want things to be below this either. So to insulate it more and to take up the space on the bottom, we're going to put some playground sand. So I've got a whole bucket of playground sand I've commandeered from my son's sandbox. I hope he forgives me. One day I think he'll forgive me if he gets into this stuff. It's blacksmithing stuff. Just gonna get it in, make sure we don't put it down that pipe. All around the outside. If you get some in there, the air is probably going to be strong enough to blow it out anyway. It's not that big of a deal. Alright, so now we're just going to get this pretty flat and flush all the way up to the edge of that pipe there. That looks wonderful. And our final touch for this part is this grate, also from an old charcoal grill. I'm going to put it so these two grates crisscross, and that'll help keep pieces of charcoal out of there even more. And that way when you're working on something, if it's a small piece of metal, it won't be as likely to fall in there either. So that's that step. I've also salvaged the old lid from a steel or aluminum trash can, and this is the perfect cap. We're not going to use the cap while we're foraging, but you don't want the inside of this to get all wet and stuff like that, so when you're not using it, you're going to leave this put together outside. Put that on there, keep the rain, keep the snow and ice out of there. It's a great cover. Alright, now to power this forge, we're going to use things that we have around. We're not going to want to buy anything to do it. And one really good thing to use that's powerful enough to do this forge is a shop vacuum. So the point is to not have to go buy anything for this project if we don't need to. So this is one of my shop vacs. I have two of them. This is the more powerful, larger of the two. And we're going to take the hose, I'm going to spin this around, hook it up to the part where the air blows out. And I actually got, a few years ago, I have an extension pack that I bought for this hose, and this clamps on, makes the hose twice as long if I want. So this is going to connect to the forge, and then we need these two to connect. I don't have a proper coupler, I don't even know if they make them, to connect these. So I'm just going to tape them together. Duct tape is great, it'll hold. Use this stuff for anything. And get it lined up. Hopefully they'll stay lined up enough for this to work. Good. First try. I love when things happen the first time. I love when a good plan comes together. So I'm going to put my hand through the blocks underneath here to hold it in the right spot, get the wood out of the way. And I'm not going to actually like tape it on or clamp it on. I'm just going to like shove it on and twist it a little bit. And I just want it on there tight enough so that the air pressure when this is on won't make it pop off, hopefully, because this can become a pain in the butt if that happens. And I feel like that's on pretty good. We might be ready. Get that block back on. So now our forge is ready to go. Got that hooked up, taped in the middle, clamped on the air outlet of our shop vac. We're going to start with our shop vac turned off, but plugged in. And if you just have the shop vac, you could have it on, you know, turn it on, it's full blast right there. But we want our forge to be able to be you know, cranked up or cranked down depending on what you need. You may find the need to step away for a minute, but you don't want all the heat to get lost. You want it to still run a little bit but not burn fuel as much, or you may need to adjust the heat to varying degrees depending on what you're working on. So we have a dimmer switch. I put this together myself. If you don't know how to do this, which some people don't, you can go to the hardware store, and in the electrical aisle you'll find a little lamp dimmer, and it's got an extension cord, like an indoor extension cord, attached to it with a little slide switch, and that's the same deal. It doesn't have a three-prong plug though, so you need to get a little like $1 adapter so you can plug your shop vac into that. But either one works, and you can just turn this. Right now it's off, the vacuum's on, but this dimmer is all the way switched off, and you just start to turn it and watch. Turn this off for a second. So there it is, and this gives you the ability to adjust your forge to how you want it. And if you decide that you want to only keep it going, but keep it going low, you just turn it on low, so the forge doesn't totally cool down, and it'll stay like that as long as you want. And that way you can serve your fuel and you keep this hot how you need it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is going to be a really cool thing we're going to use a lot. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. A lot of fun projects. Take care.